Hello, I'm Toycat, and something almost every Minecraft player seems to know about is the Farlands. This is the point after which Minecraft's world generation breaks down in its entirety, yielding some stunning and fairly interesting to explore results. This happens after 12.5 million blocks in any direction off the origin in Minecraft Bedrock, but one of the things you might not know if you ever intended to walk there is that Minecraft physics will break down long before 12.5 million blocks. And in case you don't believe me from this world, and in case you don't believe seeing this rabbit run on the spot endlessly right now, there's another one over there, here's me trying to walk past 4.1 million blocks. There's going to be a point about 2 blocks from now where I'll physically just fall through the world no matter what I do. Notice how I'm falling through the world, out of it, I'm burning and taking full damage at the same time. What just happened and why? Very questionable things, because we've reached the almost Farlands, something which happens after you go past a certain point in Minecraft. This is what I like to call the area in Minecraft, which happens after floating point areas become so clear and so obvious that weird things start to happen, weird things you expect from cursed Minecraft videos. Stuff like this, for example, it's a fence without a fence post in between. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like if you could just have the 2 wide fences? I think it looks kind of good. And in case you think, okay, that's kind of cool, but what else can you do? What if I said that in front of me this whole time, that lantern wasn't floating in midair? That's not a thing you can do in Minecraft. The lantern was sitting on a 2D fence. How is the fence 2D? Well, the answer to that question, and the answer to a lot of very strange things happening around here, is that we've reached a point at which most things in Minecraft stop making too much sense. And although that point arguably varies, and arguably any part of your Minecraft world gets less precise anywhere away from the spawn, the further away you get, the more imprecise things get. The biggest barrier, the biggest place where things get really wacky is 4,194,304 blocks away. To show you this in creative, because again, we literally can't go further forwards in survival, once we go past this point, a lot of things start to change for the weirder, again, for what I would call the cursed. Here is a lectern, for example. As you can see, I guess a better example of that book. Here you can see, here's a lectern right here. It's super stretched, it's weird, but it looks like a lectern still. Here is the lectern after 4.194303 million. As you can see, after we go past this point, things get another degree of weirder, and it means that the stand of the lectern goes right through the rest of it. It's very, very strange. The actual table itself gets less stretched, and the stand does instead. The reason for this, by the way, in case you're curious, so why is that number so significant? Why 4.194,303 or 304? Why is that the point at which you start falling through the world? Like literally, I can just fly through it as if it doesn't exist. Why is that the point at which rabbits cannot run anymore? Why is it the case for all of these different things, including one of my favorite ones, by the way, is here, just to the left, to the right of the barrier, where, things kind of make sense. Here is a sunflower. It's a very strange sunflower. It's a very square sunflower. It's a very wide sunflower, but it's still a sunflower, right? Here is the same item. Again, you just saw me in my hotbar. Just over here, as you can see, this is super wide, super thick sunflower. Very strange stuff, right? What makes it even weirder is the fact that sometimes when you place these flowers, they're not just going to go into super wide flower mode, they're going to actually turn into just, plant stalks by themselves. This is because the thing is so wide that it can only exist if the plant spawns somewhere near the center of the tile. Otherwise, what's going to happen is instead it spawns off the tile and you don't get ahead to it. This is just a giant beanstalk that you can have in Minecraft with the sunflower past a certain point. So yeah, what is so significant about, this that makes, regular sunflowers into wide sunflowers, and that makes the world stop working? And to keep things simple, it is a floating point error. Minecraft uses something called floating point to calculate, all sorts of things within the game files. And if you don't know what floating point is, even though I did computer science, it's still something that always escapes me. Basically, it's a way of having really high precision for both low numbers and high numbers. Because think about if you have a 10-digit number and, you want to work out where to place the decimal point, you can either have really high numbers or you can have really low precise numbers. Floating point, to keep things simple, moves the decimal point so you can have either really high numbers or you can have really precise numbers. So think about it this way, right? Once you go to a certain point, once you start using enough digits, you start losing access to that precision. So instead of being able to calculate to a 1/10 of a block, you start being able to calculate to a 1/5. And once you reach a certain point, you stop being able to get to the stage where a block even really is a block at some point. Where once you go past this stage, again, blocks are just something you can fall through very, very easily, just like this, because the blocks themselves barely exist. They start to overlap with one another. They stop being a block in length. And since I know the explanation is confusing, you might say, so there's a floating point thing, there's like some code thing that causes Minecraft as a whole to get less precise after a certain point. Why 4.194 million though? You still haven't explained it. Surely it should be after 9999, etc. Well, as you're probably aware, as most programs do, Minecraft is in binary, and because binary of course is base 2, it means that powers of 2 is where things get less precise. If you're at 0, 0, then the game can use the most precise numbers possible, because all of the information that should be going to the things before the decimal point is used after it. And although this doesn't make a difference because it doesn't need 20 digits of precision to keep things simple, basically as you go further and further out, that precision starts to get lost. And the reason 4.194 million is important is because it is 2 to the power of 22. Basically, in binary, if you wanted to write 4194303, you would do it with 21 ones, whereas if you wanted to write the next digit up, you'd need another digit to do so, because this would be the maxed out version of that. So this would be 1 followed by 21 zeros. Basically, you need another point from that floating precision, and because that, that point has to come from the precision part of it, as opposed to the large numbers, things get a lot less precise. The calculations for how to make a sunflower get less precise, and this turns up instead. The calculations to work out how to make a lectern, or to work out where your position is relative to the world, they become less precise. That's why the movement is so jerky around here, because as you're going to notice, all the things that work out where you are on the z-axis, which is where we are right now, all of these things get way less precise, such as my exact position at any point in time, and it causes some real problems, as you might imagine. And remember, this isn't just for me, this is for anything in Minecraft that has a position, that has anything that has to be represented on that z-axis. Once we've gone past, 2 to the power of 22, a lot of the precision that they need to even function as mobs stops really going away, because these mobs are real mobs, but they can't move. Their position, isn't able to be worked out by the z-axis, so instead they stand perfectly still. I think if they were going sideways, mobs can still move sideways because their x position, that's entirely fine. However, their z position is unmovable, so if they walk slightly diagonally, they just kind of shift to the right kind of uncomfortably, which is super strange, right? That's why earlier on the video, you saw these rabbits running right here. Their position relative to the world is too hard to calculate, and actually get any movement based on. They can't move fast enough to actually move from one block to another within one tick in Minecraft. So instead, they run on the spot endlessly, which is also why when we're running in, normal game, if we run like this, we can walk forwards just fine till we get to that point. Then walking speed is not enough for us to get over the barrier. And kind of tragically, in my opinion, you can't actually run at this stage because things are just too jerky. So even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to sprint over that. Instead, you need to be in something like a boat to just show you that this works, because this is me trying it on the fly too. I would be willing to bet that riding on a boat works, because the boat is a larger model and therefore it should go just fine. I was wrong about that, because the boats on land were going so slowly that even before the lack of precision that comes off that point, we even can't work at this point. Because it should be noted that even at this stage right here, you can fall through the very cracks in the blocks. Like if we go to a perfect corner of a tile, you're going to notice how I'm going to fall through the floor. Even here, it is in fact possible. Oh, here's a perfect place. We've got a little ice lake that's right on the border. As you can see, if I pick up enough speed, I can go across the border. I can even bring a polar bear with me if I want to. So yeah, pro tip, I can't row the boat backwards because I don't have enough speed, but I can row the boat forwards because I can pick up enough speed against the barrier. You need a certain speed to get beyond this point. This is also why you need to fly an elytra to get into the farlands, because things just do not work otherwise. And yeah, so things get really wacky off this point, right? But this also affects naturally generated structures, because all the game tells them to do is generate the blocks. It doesn't know how those blocks are going to generate, which means you end up with things like this. It's a pig that's stuck in a fence because the fence is 2D. It doesn't really have a proper, length on the z-axis because it's kind of wrapped around itself. The same is true for the lantern, by the way. You can see how the lantern is literally only visible from this direction. It has a, an actual width on the z-axis of 0 because, clearly it doesn't have enough precision to properly represent that. This is also true for torches, by the way. Look at this. There's a torch. You can see it here. But I can't see it here besides for the particle effect, because again, it doesn't exist over here. It doesn't have a length on the z-axis because there isn't enough precision left to properly, display that. This leads to some really weird parts of Minecraft, like this right here. It looks like this is a stylized, Minecraft art thing or something. Nope, this is a natural part of Minecraft at this point. And yeah, anything that has a representation on the z-axis is going to get pretty wacky at this stage. Like, look at this fence right here. Sorry, I guess it's a wall? A diorite wall? It's pretty cool that these, these villagers use direct walls. But still, you can see how, like, yeah, anything that has to represent things in pixels like that is going to get strange. Including doors, which I think this is an improvement, although it's not worth coming all the way here to do it. The door doesn't actually, have a thickness on the z-axis either. So again, it's literally a door you can only see from head-on or from the side. You can't see it if you're, a perfect 90-degree angle to it, which I think is a clever way to trick people. I guess you could just always walk through it like this. Oh no, you can't, but still. Yeah, it's super wacky stuff, super strange stuff, and yeah, I think this is kind of fun by itself. Like, oh, look how wacky it is on one axis, but what if we do this on two axes? So even though I think most of the reason this is worth talking about is because you actually feasibly could walk 4 million blocks in one direction, you'd probably do it via the nether, but that's still something you can do reasonably within a day or two. In fact, I walked 1 million blocks in Minecraft. It was a pretty bizarre survival experience, but yeah, just in case you are going to do something like this for the fun of it, it's worth going big or going home, right? So yeah, what happens once you go past this point? All mobs lose their ability to move on either the X or the Z axis. So the same thing we had before, but when mobs spawn, they're kind of stuck spawned in. So you ever wanted to see two mobs combined like this? It looks like a Brahmin from Fallout almost. Then boom, here you go. You ever wanted to see what it's like to be on the inside of a tree? Well, here you go. This is what the inside of a tree looks like. I mean, there's a reason we don't spend most of our game inside there. But yeah, fun facts with Toycat, trees are pretty wacky on the inside, aren't they? And in fact, once you go past this point, you physically can't move besides one full block on either the X or the Z axis. You're going to notice how right here, I'm on the corner of this block, I'm moving to this corner, and so on and so forth. Instead of functioning on the blocks, you basically function on the very corners of all the blocks, which is kind of cool in my opinion. Also, all of the blocks that were invisible from one side are now invisible from both, so stuff like the fences don't exist at this point. There is a fence block there. A fence block did generate for this to be possible, but I can't see where the fence block is, and to prove that like this is indeed at this point. So here is a cube of fences. As you can see, the posts of them have just gone entirely missing. What you just end up seeing is the fence minus the fence post. Very strange in my opinion, especially at the corners here. Like this is not a block that's meant to exist. Same thing with the nether brick fences. As you can see, the exact same thing. We can place ourselves fences without having to have the post there, which is kind of nice by itself. But yeah, any block we do the same thing. Things are going to get pretty strange. Look at this sunflower, for example. Kind of strange, right? Because yeah, everything gets a bit wacky when you go past this point, because we're in the nearly farlands. We have to move on a grid basically. We have to look at everything in very strange ways, but this is just a natural side product of once you go past a certain point, once you use up a certain amount of calculations to work out the large numbers, you lose the precision on these small numbers. That is just a natural side effect of floating point. This is also why, fun fact, just to give you some trivia while we go here, fun fact, this is also why a lot of computers, if they use floating point and they use it wrong, you can end up trying to put in a calculation like 1 plus 1, and it will come out with like 1.9999999999998 because it's not actually calculating 1 plus 1, it's calculating 0.9 recurring plus 0.9 recurring. There's a lot of really weird errors you get from floating point. In general though, it's a really good compromise, but when you see stuff like this, you start to wonder if it really is such good compromise. So yeah, before we move on any further, let's just mention that there's a lot of blocks which get really strange at this level because of that X and Z lack of precision thing. Here is a scaffolding, for instance, which in my opinion looks way cooler than otherwise. Like, this is a solid block I'd be down to use. This is a lectern, for instance. Can wide lectern hurt you? Wide lectern can hurt you. Your therapist does not approve, but it is very much true. Also, what is this monstrosity? I tried it from the other angle, and it looks like a bookshelf with a lectern going right through it. Like, this is literally just a bookshelf with the weirdest thing rolling right through there. This makes me uncomfortable to look at, and it seems to change slightly every block further we go forwards. This is very, very interesting. Also, we put a book on there. The book does still work. It's in, like, enchantment table size, though. Whatever. Strange stuff. Oh, this one's normal. I wonder why it's different on literally every block. Huh. Odd thing. Oh, we've gone over the point on this level, that's why. So yeah, redstone torches, entirely invisible, which means we can do the mystical thing of having ourselves a piston without the piston's weird enough without the redstone, actually. But we can have a piston, and we can have the piston be powered by an invisible source, which is kind of wacky, right? Also, what is even happening here? Like, what? I can't even begin to describe this one. But yeah, you can have, pistons that seem to... Actually, what happens if we have the piston go over the boundary? Again, this is just before the boundary. It seems to have changed the block next to it a bit. But yeah, no, this is actually pretty fine. It's only when these blocks are together that they really seem to cause issues. Yeah, you can't see the piston head from here for some reason. It seems to glitch in and out of view. Let's check out some of these Minecraft structures, and maybe let's do a little bit of our fun torch rain thing, right? Everyone loves the torch rain. That's one thing I've learned from past videos and indeed my Let's Play world. So let's just make it rain. Because if you don't know, one of my favorite commands is the replace command in Minecraft. You just have to use it like this. You fill a certain area, but then you tell it to replace something with something else. In this case, we can use torches and air to replace every block around me that is air with torches. Meaning it should look something like that when we're done. And it starts to rain torches if we do it right. But yeah, it means that you can actually light up a place very thoroughly if you so choose. Oh, all the blocks that are filled we can't see. So there's a bunch of just mysterious glowing on this house. I was like, oh, it didn't work. It did work, but all the glowing is... Oh, it's not attached to anything. It's just a lot of weird glowing. Yeah, same with this house over here. I don't know if I like this one bit. I don't know if I like this at all. I think this is very, very, very uncomfortable. It's funny because this is an otherwise totally normal village. Here's another one, by the way. But except for all the ways in which things just break a little bit. And it's very interesting to see. But again, let's make it torches over here. Just for those who like seeing, for some reason, whatever the reason may be, if you like seeing houses glow with this ominous kind of feeling, here is a house glowing in ways we can't tell. For those of you who aren't serial killers though, you might appreciate that there's a sunflower plains biome right here, and it looks as though a little bit of it's gonna go just over the edge, if you check the coordinates, into past the 304 territory. So yeah, here you can see half the sunflowers are normal, half the sunflowers are ultra wide, movie aspect ratio sunflowers. I'm not sure which type I prefer, honestly. Okay, I promised you all a house covered in torches that hopefully that you can see. So that's what I'm going to try and deliver right now, because this house is just before the boundary in that same village from earlier, meaning you should be able to only see the torches on this house from one angle. Theoretically, there is an angle you can see the torches on this house from, but that very much seems to be theory only. Yeah, honestly, I think the much cooler thing are these fences over here. Where like, oh yeah, the fences don't really exist from up here, but also they really exist, and also they're all separate and different, and it looks like some weird texture pack or mod or something, but nope, this is real vanilla default Minecraft again. Okay, new plan. I've gone closer to the world origin on the x-axis, so it should just be the z-axis that is mixed up. Let's try this one more time. So the good news is that I've got a lot of torches stuck in midair somehow. I'm not sure if that's another floating point error or what the deal is. You know, this is beautiful. Wouldn't want it any other way. Wouldn't want it any other way. Okay, we've finally done it. We've got torches that are visible on a house only from one angle. Here are the torches visible from side on just fine. When you look at them from this side on though, they vanish. 2D torches covering a village. Let's do this. Also, somehow the worlds ended up spawning the cow on top of the fence. Like, how is that even a thing? How is that even, you know, like what? Okay, I think we can do one better. What if we had a desert temple covered in 2D torches? That's right, it looks like a desert temple covered in torches. Kind of weird, kind of strange by itself, eh? What if it was a desert temple? Well, I guess it's also physically covered in torches. What if it was a desert temple covered in 2D torches where they vanish if you look at them from the wrong angle? Also somehow, also look at this, this is beyond confusion. The torch is 2D, so it looks different depending on where you're standing. Also, how is this even a thing? What am I even looking at right now, you know? I genuinely cannot understand why they are so far out from the block in front of them. Again, it's floating point. The fact that their Z position is so unstable, so imprecise. But it's like, why is that so different to the one standing up? I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know what I'm seeing. I just know that I don't think I like it, which is maybe the point of all of this. Maybe, really, when you go to the pre-Farlands, it does turn into just a cursed land. Maybe that's what this really is. Maybe there's this whole gap between 4 million and 12 million, where things aren't, you know, necessarily broken world gen-wise, but they definitely feel a little bit cursed. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you disagree. That sentence rhymed. I'd love to hear if you liked it all the time. By the way, even the cacti textures, which, you know, it's meant to be... I wouldn't figure they'd be affected by this, but you can see how the cacti textures are very slightly affected, so they all go about a pixel or two out or something to the edge of the block, and it means that you can see right through into the inside of a cacti. So, have you ever wanted to see what a cactus looks like from the inside? Well, boy, do I have some good news for you. Because apparently the answer is green. Very, very green. Alternatively, here are some 2D cacti in case they're your thing, and here are some buttons that are fading in and out of existence as we look at them because they don't exist, but at the same time they do. They're having an identity crisis, aren't we all? It's 2019, am I right? If you are having an identity crisis, why not consider becoming someone whose identity is being a subscriber to the IBX2Cat YouTube channel? That's right, for just the low price of literally nothing, you can subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on. Do you know how much notifications cost on other websites? Probably money. I don't actually know. I don't have notifications turned on for really any app, actually, because I'm not... I don't believe in notifications as a concept. I think they're kind of crazy. But if you do believe in notifications, then you can turn them on for my channel. That's the worst sales pitch ever. But you know what else was the worst sales pitch ever? This video. I mean, you decided to click it because you heard Minecraft was broken. Isn't Minecraft a beautiful game when it works? Isn't it a beautiful game when things make sense? Shouldn't you be watching videos about that? Well, I guess if you did want to watch videos about that, you could find those on my channel. But there, thank you very much for watching this video regardless. I hope you all enjoyed it. Things got a bit strange here, I know. But hopefully you like that and want to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.